And they, like the rest of us, witnessed some absolute madness in Madison Square Garden. Game 1, Eastern Conference Finals, the Knicks and the Cavs. New York last played a game 9 days ago.
Welcome back, by the way.
Cleveland, 2 days ago. You didn't act like you wanted me here. So, look, Cleveland had a 2-point lead at the half. With 8 minutes to go in the third, they're building on that lead. Donovan Mitchell with the strip takes it for the other way. The lead is 8. A couple possessions later, here come the Knicks. But watch Evan Mobley. Blocks Josh Hart. Now Cleveland in transition the other way. James Harden finds Mobley. Mike Brown calls the timeout because the Cavs had a 9-point lead that was their largest of the game at that point. Less than 2 minutes to go in the third. It's 81-67. Mitchell takes on Jalen Brunson. He had 29 points. The Cavs are up 16. They got up to 22. And entering this game, teams up 22 in the fourth quarter were 594-1 over the last 30 postseasons. But Jalen Brunson was like, yeah, we are down, but we are far from over. He gets the floater. 5 minutes to go. The lead is down to 15. Brunson, the moves on Harden. It's a 12-point game. Less than 4 to play. Brunson out here packing up dudes like UPS. Knicks are down 8. And then Brunson pulls up for 3. Won't he do it? 18-1 run by the Knicks. They are down just 5. And the Garden is going insane. We got a minute to go. They're down 6. Mikal Bridges in the corner for 3. Patrick Ewing's like, can you believe this? Larry Johnson's like, I believe. 50 seconds to go. Landry Shamet for 3. Oh, he got all the rolls to tie the game at 99. What is happening? Next Cavs possession. Harden, one-on-one with Brunson. Takes him in the paint, gets room. And he gives Cleveland the lead again at 101-99. But the very next possession, it's Brunson blowing past Harden again. Ties the game at 101. So the final seconds, the Cavs don't give to Donovan Mitchell. James Harden has it, but instead gives it up to Sam Merrill for 3. Oh, it was almost win. But it wasn't. It wasn't a win because it wasn't in. We are going to OT. Kenny Atkinson's squad has to be stunned in the extra frame. The Knicks take the lead. The first time they had the lead in the entire second half. And then Brunson, he does this. 2 more if it's 38. The lead is 4. OG Anunoby just Bogart his way to the rack. Knicks up 6. And then Shamet, another 3 from the wing. Holy mollywop, Batman. The Knicks went on a 44-11 run to end the game to win game 1, 115-104.
I got to give my group credit. They've been resilient all year, and I don't know if I've seen that in a playoff game. I don't know if I've been a part of it. Maybe I have. But to be down 18, 19, 20, whatever we were down, and to find a way to come back and win, I take my hat off to my group.
Keep fighting, keep chipping away. You know, we're not going to get it back in one possession. Most importantly, sticking together. You know, no matter how that game finished, habits translate, and so they translate to the next game. So just finishing the game strong.
Anyone watched us last year when we was in Boston? I feel everyone counted us out in those first 2, and we did exactly like this. So shout out to our team. The grit we showed, the resilience that we showed, and of course Jalen Brunson was special. Our team showed up defensively in the fourth and overtime, and that's how we're going to leave MSG tonight with a win.
Jalen just was a little bit more aggressive, and so, you know, I think we just allowed him to be aggressive, and he made shots, and he continued to make shots. And then, you know, once he got going, then we, OG and the supporting cast made shots as well.
It's one game. We could have lost by 40. Still would have been 1-0. So just watch the film. We played, pretty solid for 3 quarters or so. We'll make adjustments and go from there. We lost. We blew it. All right, let's round for game 2. Simple as that.
Let's hope for their sake it is that simple.
Yep.
Because it didn't feel like it could
feel like it, though.
Because this game was just absolutely bananas, and no shock that MSG would give it to us, right? Over the final 12 minutes and 40 seconds, the Knicks outscored the Cavs by 33 to erase what was, again, a 22-point deficit. Jalen Brunson by himself, Briscoe, made twice as many field goals as the entire Cavs team during that span.
He's feeling pretty
probably, right?
Yeah, right. Hi. How are you feeling after watching that Knicks team do what they did, particularly the final minutes of that game?
Relieved, Nicole, absolutely relieved. I mean, they looked absolutely awful for more than 3/4 of the game. And then after that, it was 7 minutes left. They were down 22. And then all of a sudden, Jalen Brunson goes ballistic and literally should be arrested for the assault that he put on James Harden. Just abused him at every single turn. Annihilated him, kept going by him, scored like 5 or 6 straight baskets. And then it got to a point where seemingly anybody, whether it was Mikal Bridges, whether it was Brunson, whether it was Landry Shamet, anybody who attempted a shot, it was James Harden in the vicinity. It ain't just Jalen Brunson that should be arrested for assault. It's the rest of the Knicks, because everybody at that point was targeting James Harden because he couldn't stop a cold. It was just that simple. But up before then, up before the 7-minute mark, when they were down by 22, they looked beyond rusty. They looked lethargic, like they had been chilling for the last 9 days, eating pizza and Lord knows what else. They did not look like the New York Knicks we had seen win 7 straight playoff games, but thank goodness it didn't last the entire game.
That was like 2 different teams.
Yeah, right. But look, once you get to the playoffs, we've seen crazy games before, and one loss is just one loss, whether it's by 1 or 30 or this dramatic comeback. But my thing is, if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers fans right now, if your team could not respond in the moment to that run in the fourth quarter and then get blitzed in overtime, how can you respond in game 2 at all?
Was a very legitimate question. We'll see if they have an answer. I don't think they will. Last year, when the New York Knicks blew their first game against the Indiana Pacers, we knew they were in a world of trouble because it was that devastating of a loss. I think this was even worse for the Cleveland Cavaliers. It was unquestionably a choke job. Make no mistake about it. It was a choke job. You can't collapse like that. Where was Donovan Mitchell in the last 7 minutes to stop the bleeding? He was nowhere to be found. James Harden had tied it at 99, but that was the only thing he did right other than drawing an offensive foul from Brunson in the last 7 minutes. Aside from that, he was getting abused by every Knick in sight. So when you have that going on, you know it's a problem. And why did it end up that way, Nicole and Michael? It's very, very simple. Mike Brown deserves a lot of credit because what he did was he took Josh Hart out of the game. And as a result, by putting Shaman in there with Brunson, what happened is you couldn't hide Donovan Mitchell and James Harden defensively any longer. And that's what happened. You had 2 guys that looked to stroke it from deep and are fully capable of doing so. So it drew somebody like Harden and Mitchell out, more so Harden than anybody else, which is why he was targeted. So you end up losing a 22-point lead. You end up spending the last 7 minutes of regulation and overtime getting outscored 44-11. That is a demoralizing situation to be in, especially when you came to New York just to get one. And this is the one that you had. In all likelihood, I can't imagine them getting game 2. They're going to be in an 0-2 hole, and it's going to be virtually impossible to imagine them doing what they did against Detroit, winning 4 of the last 5 games to win this series and get to the NBA Finals. I'd be shocked if a team this demoralized, clearly and visibly, is going to come back from a defeat of this nature. It's not just a loss. It's how you lose like that.
Yeah,
it's a devastating.
They had it.
Yeah, and demoralizing may be an understatement in terms of how this thing played out by the time they got to the end of overtime. Stephen A., appreciate the time, man. I wonder what First Take is going to be like.
Oh, it's going to be nice. It's going to be orange and blue skies, baby. Orange and blue skies.
Kittens and rainbows. I'm not saying the dude's not weird, but...
Because you can't say that. Because he is weird.
When he uncursed the Knicks, all they have done since then is win. And he cursed the Cavs, and it certainly felt like it at certain points. Game 1, remember the Knicks were down 22 with 7:40 to go in the fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson with the Knicks now down 10, make it 8. Next Knicks possession. Look who he's going at, by the way. Brunson contested triple. Knicks down 5 after an 18-1 run. A minute to play. Knicks down 3. Landry Shamet's 3. That's a nice little bounce.
Come on.
Nice little bouncing in to tie it at 99. At the other end, a little bit of offense from James Harden. At least he added that. Cavs up 2. But with 30 seconds to play, it was more Brunson. Using all of his resources to tie it back up at 101. Then 6 seconds to go. Cavs with a chance to win it. It's Sam Merrill. Nah. So we go to overtime. That was like in until it wasn't. The Knicks end the fourth quarter on a 30-8 run. And then they started overtime on a 9-0 run. Brunson had 38 points. OG Anunoby. How about that inside? To make it a 6-point lead for the Knicks. You look at everything at the end of the game and overtime. It's a 44-11 run to end the game. The Knicks stole. They took it. Game 1, 115-104. It's 8 straight wins for the Knicks. Can we go back to Danhausen for a second?
I told you the curse was real. We did it. Danhausen has cursed the Cavaliers. The Knicks have won. And Danhausen has won. And now he's owed Fortnite in between Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner.
He's still kind of a weird dude. Anyway, the Knicks were down by as many as 22 points like midway through the fourth quarter, and they won by 11. It is the largest win by any team after trailing by 20 or more in the fourth quarter, regular season, or playoffs in the play-by-play era. I'm sure we'll remember this one for a while.
Just being in attack mode, just trying to find seams to get to where I feel comfortable. Finally, one did go down. That's just because of the rhythm I created from the shots beforehand.
I mean, when he's playing that way and he's making points and buckets like that, I'm just blessed I get a front row seat to watch it.
Obviously, we don't get it done if Jalen Brunson doesn't play like one of the MVP guys in the league.
It was a little comfortable. We could have done some things collectively, and we did, and that's on us. But ultimately, can't do nothing about it now. We got to go out there and watch the film and fix it for game 2.
Yeah, I like to hold my timeouts. I mean, I didn't want to have one timeout at the end of the game, 1 or 2 point game. I try to hold them,
All right, Kendrick Perkins here with us. And look, Perk, people are going to be talking about this Knicks comeback for a while and all that. But allow me to quote you, sir. The hell with that. Because this is what I want to ask you, okay? During the Knicks' 44-11 run to close out the game, Donovan Mitchell and James Harden were combined 1 for 10 from the floor.
Not bad.
0 for 5 from 3. 2 turnovers. They combined for 3 points. Donovan Mitchell's last made field goal came with 8:19 left in the fourth quarter. Please, sir, explain that to me.
Well, look, Eves, first of all, good to see you, and I'm loving the beard. Hello, Nicole. Good to see you as well. But let me say this. It's 2 sides of the basketball, right? And I'm not disagreeing with you. They were awful offensively, but you up double digits in the 4 quarters. All you have to do is get stops. And James Harden was a defensive liability once again. The Knicks were scoring on him at will. The entire Knicks squad was 9 for 15 in the 4th quarter in overtime when James Harden was the defender. Jalen Brunson was 7 for 8 on James Harden. At some point, if you're Kenny Atkinson, you have to see this, and you have to make a business decision and get him off the damn floor. It was less than a minute and a half in the game, and he left strong side corner 3 and went and did a half trap on Jalen Brunson and gave up a wide open 3-point shot to Mikal Bridges. Here we are again. Different series, same story. James Harden, more turnovers than field goals made.
Okay, so I do want to move on a little bit. It's sort of on the same thing because it deals with coaching. Because we did get some NBA news tonight. The Mavs and Jason Kidd, they're no more after 5 seasons. Kidd is out. It's described as a mutual decision. This also comes like 2 weeks after the Mavs hired their new president, Messiah Ujiri. So what do you think of that?
Well, this was way past due. This relationship had been run this course. J. Kidd wanted out of Dallas last year once they traded Luka. He's not a coach that's with the rebuilding. He's a coach that wants to win championships. And so when you think about where they're headed, they traded Anthony Davis. Yes, he done an outstanding job for us building up and putting Cooper Flagg in the right position. But J. Kidd is a coach that wants to win now. He is not looking in the near future or looking down the line 5 or 6 years from now. And so he wanted to go his own separate ways, and rightfully so. And I'm going to say this. J. Kidd is just the first domino to fall. I wouldn't be surprised in the next 2 to 3 weeks if we see some more movement in that Mavericks organization for as a guy named Kyrie Irving.
Rebuild, restructure, whatever you want to call it. A lot of moves down there. Perk, as always, brother, we appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all.
Enough perspective about what we saw in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. So we bring in the Hall of Famer Mike Wilbon to get us a little more. And Mike, look, you've been around this league for decades, and you've seen some crazy endings. But I need you to give me some perspective on exactly what we witnessed here. But you witnessed firsthand how the Knicks looked like nothing and the Cavs looked like everything, and then that completely switched by the time we got to the end of overtime.
20-point lead with 7+ minutes to play. Michael and Nicole, you don't say it's over, but it's pretty close to over. Cleveland's in control of the game. They're completely in control of the game. One, you thought the Knicks might be trying to work their way through some rust. I thought the lead might be 6 or 7 at halftime. It wasn't that big at halftime, and it just grew and grew and grew, and Cleveland was doing everything right until they did everything not just wrong, but dumb. I mean, just one stupid mistake after another. How do you give up an 18-1 run and not call a timeout? I can tell you the Knicks were surprised. They were looking at each other, some of the players thinking, okay, we'll keep playing if you want. And Cleveland has 4 timeouts and doesn't call a timeout on an 18-1 run and wind up giving up 40 of the next 51 points in fourth quarter and overtime, and wind up continuing to put James Harden, who 10 years ago, a much more athletic, capable James Harden couldn't guard Jalen Brunson, and now to put James Harden on Jalen Brunson time after time to let the Knicks dictate that matchup. It's baffling and stupid to do that. It's unbelievable that a team as well as Cleveland have played, and they had done everything right for such a long period of time. And there's a lot of Hall of Famers in the building. I'm not going to name names. A lot of Hall of Famers. You can imagine who some of them are, past and present, or a long time ago and recent present. And believe me, they're walking around this court now saying, what was that? What was Cleveland doing? There's some post-game comment we've got to have. There'll be post-game questions. We'll be talking about this for the next 48 hours. No one knows what the hell the Cleveland Cavaliers are doing after that 7.5-minute mark in the fourth quarter to the end of this game.
You know, when the game started, though, the thought was that the Knicks they've been off, they've been resting, they're rusty. At the end, there was a part of my brain that switched to, well, Cleveland just came off a 7-game series. Now they're exhausted, they're tired. Stephen A. said, this is a team that's now, like, demoralized. Like we said, is that a strong enough word? I don't know. The question now is, do you see them coming back? How do they do that after what they did here? Done.
No, I don't see them coming back to win a game, Nicole. Let's go back to the part, a great point you raised about coming off a 7-game series, a tough, grueling 7-game series previously with Detroit. So why do you not call timeout during an 18-1 run when you got 4 of them? You don't call timeout, you know your guys are likely to be tired. Or as one Hall of Famer here in attendance said to me, he had to know their legs are shot. Why do you not call timeout? Why do you have James Harden
I need you to start
still
naming
out
names,
there?
sir.
What is it you're trying to do with Brunson? And it's just one question after another, which has no reasonable answer after another.
And here's the thing. I said this earlier. I don't care who wins or loses these games. I have no vested interest. No. But as a basketball fan, I was offended how the Cavs finished that game and all the things you raised. Yeah. And now they got to somehow respond and try to, whatever. Game 2 Thursday, 8 Eastern, ESPN. At least we get to watch it together because I don't know what's going to happen.
I will say this. If they do respond, it does say something about them that I don't think any of us expect.
Well, they need to say something about themselves.
Nicole,
they need to say something about themselves. For sure. It
would say something about their nerve and guts and the most overused word in sports today, resilience. But I don't see any of that happening.
I was going to go with there. There are so many.
And did we see Donovan limping off the court? Was he limping? A little limp to his gait when he went through the tunnel? If that's the case, what is it they have? What is it they're going to resort to? What is it
they got no chance. They got zero chance. Zero chance on that. Mike, appreciate you, brother. Be good.
All right, you guys.